Hello, Afternators. So I just kind of wanted to talk a little bit today about the overall box office. Now, you've seen me make a few videos just talking about, opening weekend, the second weekend, the international numbers, but I just wanted to talk about the overall box office in terms of like how much the movie is making, maybe answer a couple of questions that I've seen come up time and time and time again. Now, of course, the big thing is that when dictating the box office gross, what they do is they take foreign and domestic and combine those two together to create a worldwide gross, which is how we are getting the number $44 million. Which hey, that really is amazing for this film. All right. But again, this is a film that did not have to break the bank. This is the film that did not have to break records to be successful. Because like I've said in other videos, that one of the best decisions that Avrion Pictures made during this entire thing is keeping the budget low. The budget is only $14 million, so basically at this point it has made a little over 3 times its budget. We are now officially past the break-even point, and we are now firmly, squarely planted in the profitability margins. We are now into what we like to call profitability. Like, how profitable is this film going to be for the studio? They made back their budget, they broke an even, and now we're into, pretty much making, profits for them at this point. Right now, it depends on how The Informer does when it comes out in August, but I don't think The Informer is going to go anywhere. But as of right now, After is Avrion Pictures' highest grossing film at $44 million. It just passed this weekend their previous highest grossing film, Kidnap, which of course starred Halle Berry. And this is where I think that you guys really do need to take a lot of credit for this, because After has already beaten not only a film that starred Matthew McConaughey and Anne Hathaway that came out way earlier this year. It's already made 4 times as much as Serenity made back in January. It's made more than a movie that starred Halle Berry. Again, like, these are movies that have like these insane A-listers, but yet After has made a lot more money than both of those films. It is Avrion Pictures' highest grossing film to date. At this point, we are really just waiting for the studio. We're waiting for the studio to decide whether or not we're going to get a sequel. Now, we already know that Anna Todd is writing the script for the next movie, along with an unnamed male screenwriter. So we know that the sequel is already being worked on, at least in the scripting stage. Now, Avrion Pictures has not officially, given the green light for it and said, yes, we're going to make it. Here's the start date for the production. And we're off to the races. We have not gotten to that part yet, but we are now firmly in the area where Avrion Pictures, from a business perspective, it would make sense for them to continue. They would be fools at this point not to continue with this franchise. Now, I've seen some tweets, and I couldn't really figure out like where, what was said to really kick off these tweets. But people were saying, trying to compare this to Shazam. That superhero movie that came out earlier this month as well. Why? Because looking up Shazam, let me look at Box Office Mojo for a second. Shazam. Yeah, Shazam cost $100 million to make, so Shazam has to be making these money. Shazam has to be making triple-digit, box office bonanza, to make money. It cannot just make, okay, let me put it like this. If Shazam was making After numbers with a production budget of $100 million, I guess the best way to put it would be somebody be getting fired. Yeah, no, somebody would be getting fired over at Warner Brothers if Shazam was making After money. But the truth of the matter is, and that's the difference that people need to understand, is that the bar for success of Shazam is completely different than the bar of success for After. Because again, the higher your budget, the more money you have to make. Which is why when Kingsman: The Golden Circle came out and basically made right around the same area as Kingsman: The Secret Service, that's why people like me were a little bit hesitant to call it a box office smash, because again, with Kingsman: The Golden Circle, which is the sequel to Kingsman: The Secret Service, it was made for a little bit more money. It was made, for like a higher budget. So when the studio puts more money into the film, or more money into like a sequel's budget, they expect the sequel to make more money than the first movie. They expect, then you kind of have to, unless again you've kept the budget low, which is not what they did for Kingsman: The Golden Circle. But if you keep the budget low, you can still make a crap ton of money. You can still be profitable, even if you just make, do like right around the same budget. Which is why I still call Mamma Mia: Here We Go Again a rousing success, even though it made a significantly less than the first movie in terms of the box office. The budget was for Mamma Mia: Here We Go Again was like around 75 million, which I think, unless I'm mistaken, give me a second here. Don't worry, I'll wrap this back around to after. But yeah, Mamma Mia cost $52 million to make. It exploded at the box office and made about $609 million. The sequel kind of upped their budget a little bit, made it for $75 million. But again, they did not have to, make around the same amount of money as the first one, because again, the budget was still kind of low. So this is still a rousing success for them, because Mamma Mia is a billion-dollar franchise. The thing with After, let me wrap this back around to After, because you're wondering, like, why did I go off on a tangent with, like, oh, well, if a sequel, ups the budget, then the sequel has to make more money than the first one. Well, that's because I've been seeing a lot of fans saying, like, oh, when we get the sequel, you need to up the budget. Avrion Pictures, whoever, produces the film, you need to give them more money to make the sequel. Now, see, that's where I'm kind of saying you need to back off that a little bit. Because like I said, the best decision that they made about this movie is that they kept the budget low. They did not break the bank. Now, the truth of the matter is that based on the small budget that it had, it's a moneymaker. It is a success. But the problem is that, and from a business perspective, it makes sense to sign on for the sequel. It makes sense for them to go ahead and, greenlight the sequel. But, and here comes a hard truth that I don't think a lot of you are going to want to hear. This film has not made enough money to where that it would make sense from a business perspective for them to up the budget on After We Collided. It's made enough money to justify a sequel, but not enough for them to all of a sudden break the bank in terms of the budget for the sequel. So if they can still keep the money low, if they can still keep that budget low, because again, I'm doing the read-throughs and I'm not really seeing anything in there unless somebody wants to surprise me and say, like, oh, towards the end of the book, there's like a big car chase, a big explosion. I don't see a reason to break the bank on the sequel. I'm not seeing, like, when I looked at the first film, I didn't see anything in there that looked like it was hampered by a low budget. Okay, actually, to be fair, the wedding did kind of look like it was on a budget, even though it was supposed to be like this rich, extravagant affair. Yes, okay, that looked like it was a little bit on a budget. But still, even that, I mean, again, they did not need to break the bank just to, go over the top with the wedding. Again, there was like nothing in the first film that really screamed, other than, like a little bit of the wedding. There was like really like nothing in there that just screamed, oh, if we had a bigger budget, we could have done this. Because I don't really remember anything happening in the first book that would really require them to, explode the budget and, just have like this humongous budget. But yes, that is the good news that I wanted to give you, Afternators, is that yes, this film has made more than enough money that unless they are fools, Avrion Pictures will sign on to do a sequel. Avrion Pictures will greenlight a sequel. But at this point, I gotta tell you guys, you gotta keep showing up. Because the big question here is, and this is the big question mark hanging here, what does success look like? Because I'm pretty sure that they had this conversation with Anna Todd, with the producers, like, what does a box office success look like? Like, what numbers did they expect to hit? Like, oh, if we don't hit this particular number, then, oh, we're not doing the sequel, don't even come talk to us about it. Just forget about it. Like what was that number that they gave, that they pretty much like all kind of talked about and said, like, okay, like this is the number we want to hit. if they were expecting $100 million franchise, well, they screwed the pooch on that one, and we can just forget about a sequel. Because I'm sorry, but with Avengers coming out, I hate to break it to y'all, but no, if they wanted $100 million out of this thing, no, I'm sorry. Especially with Avengers coming out this weekend, and Avengers is basically going to snap like half the films out of existence in terms of the box office, given like how many showtimes that they are doing. Funny thing is that AMC theaters in a whole bunch of locations here in the U.S., and I don't know if they're doing the same thing overseas, but here in the U.S., AMC theaters is pretty much holding round-the-clock screenings for the Avengers. So that means that more than a few films are going to get snapped out of existence this weekend. And unfortunately, I think After is going to be one of those films. So I'm going to say, like, hey, you guys still need to, if the film does exist around your area, you still need to get out and go see it, because at this point it's all about profitability. It's all about just like boosting up those numbers so they can just feel more and more confident. Okay, yes, we are going to do a sequel. Because yes, if it was me, if I was working at Avrion Pictures, well, first of all, I would come out and I would apologize to the fans for not treating you guys right the first time, for not marketing this film, for not doing like any TV advertisement, because even the website, the industry website Deadline, even they said on their opening weekend like box office write-up that if Avrion Pictures had spent just a little money on TV advertising, this film could have opened up to double digits just on opening weekend. But yeah, but yes, that the main point of this entire video is to say, yes, this number is great for them. Yes, this number is great for them. We are past making back their budget. We are past breaking even, and we are now into profitability. If it was me, I would sign off. Yes, if I was sitting in Avrion Pictures, I would make the decision today, or at least like in the next couple of months, seeing like where they are with the script. I would say yes, rubber stamp, go make your sequel. Welcome to the family. You're our highest grossing movie. We love you. Here's your sequel. But yeah, so jump down to the comment section, sound off what you guys think about all this. Remember, if you like what you see here, leave a comment. Remember to like. Remember to subscribe. I'll see you later. After Naders. Take care, y'all.